The Twilight Zone episode The Hitchhiker originally aired on January 22nd, 1960 during the season's first season. Adapted by Rod Serling from a celebrated 1941 radio play by Lucille Fletcher. It stars Inger Stevens as a young woman on a cross-country drive who is haunted by a mysterious stranger no one else seems to be able to see. The episode begins with Nan Adams, a poised, independent woman in her late 20s, driving alone from New York City to Los Angeles, where she intends to begin a new chapter of her life. Her journey starts routinely until she suffers a flat tire on a lonely highway. When a mechanic changes the tire, Nan notices a thin, shabby man standing silently some distance away beside the road. Wearing a dark suit and hat, he watches her with an unsettling expression. Before she can speak to him, he disappears. The mechanic remarks that she seems distracted, but he has no one else. Back on the highway, Nan soon catches sight of the same man standing miles ahead. As she approaches, he gazes directly at her. She speeds past him, shaken. Hours later, after traveling many more miles, the stranger appears again and again. No matter how far she drives, the hitchhiker seems to always get ahead of her. Each time he calmly raises his thumb as though asking for a ride. Eventually, he speaks this haunting sentence, "Going my way?" His tone is neither threatening nor emotional. It's quite patient and inevitable. Nan tries to convince herself that the repeated sightings are coincidence. She begins stopping at gas stations and roadside diners, asking attendants if they have seen the man. No one has. When she points towards him, the stranger is either gone or invisible to everyone else. As the miles pass, Nan becomes increasingly exhausted and terrified. She sleeps poorly, jumps at every sound, and constantly checks her mirrors. She even attempts to outrun him by driving at dangerous speeds, yet somehow every time she rounds another bend, he's waiting further ahead. Convinced the stranger intends to kill her, Nan tries every means of escape. She boards a ferry. The hitchhiker is already standing on shore when she departs. She takes different highways. He's waiting beside them. She crosses state lines. He appears there first. Her growing terror isolates her from everyone she meets. Motorists and police officers see only an increasingly frantic young woman whose story makes little sense. Nan eventually picks up a friendly sailor hitchhiking home on leave. His cheerful personality temporarily eases her anxiety as they travel together. She spots the mysterious man yet again. Panicking, she swerves violently to avoid him. The sailor sees only empty road. The near accident convinces him something is seriously wrong, and he quietly leaves at the next opportunity, worried about her mental state. Now completely alone again, Nan realizes no companion can protect her. Exhausted and desperate, Nan reaches a telephone booth and decides to call her mother in New York. She expects the comforting familiarity of home. Instead, her mother answers the phone in tears. During the conversation, Nan learns something impossible. Several days earlier, at the very beginning of her journey, her car had suffered a catastrophic accident after the tire blew out. Nan Adams was killed instantly. The woman making the phone call cannot possibly be alive. The horrifying realization finally becomes clear. Throughout the episode, Nan has unknowingly been a spirit, unable to accept her own death. Her endless drive across North America has actually been a symbolic journey between life and the afterlife. The mysterious hitchhiker had never intended to harm her. He has patiently followed her, waiting for the moment she's ready to acknowledge the truth. As Nan leaves the phone booth, the stranger stands, waiting nearby. He smiles gently and repeats the words heard throughout the episode. "Going my way?" This time she understands. There's nowhere left to run. Nan quietly walks toward him, accepting her fate as the episode fades to its conclusion. The Hitchhiker explores several themes that reoccur through the Twilight Zone: denial of death, the inevitability of morality, isolation, psychological suspense, and finally acceptance. The Hitchhiker is widely regarded as one of the finest psychological episodes of the Twilight Zone. Inger Stevens delivers a compelling performance that carries nearly the entire story alone, while the understated portrayal of the hitchhiker by Leonard Strong makes the character one of the most memorable supernatural figures. The episode's gradual revelation that Nan has been dead since the opening moments has become one of the classic twist endings in television history and remains one of the most haunting explorations of mortality in the anthology series. Inger Stevens was born in 1934 and died in 1970. Swedish American actress whose beauty, natural screen presence, and emotional depth made her one of television's most admired performers during the 1950s and 1960s. Although her career lasted only about 15 years, she left an enduring legacy through memorable roles in television, film, and The Twilight Zone. Born in Stockholm, Stevens endured a difficult childhood. Her parents separated when she was young, and after her mother left the family, she and her brother were cared for by relatives before joining their father in the United States. The family eventually settled in Manhattan, where Stevens attended high school. Restless and determined to become an actress, she left home as a teenager, worked as a chorus girl and burlesque performer, and later studied at the famed Actors Studio in New York City. Stevens began her career appearing in television commercials and live dramatic anthologies before making her film debut opposite Bing Crosby in Man on Fire, 1957. Hollywood quickly recognized her talent, leading to starring roles in Cry Terror alongside James Mason and the acclaimed post-apocalyptic. Let me try that one again. The acclaimed post-apocalyptic drama, The World, the Flesh, and the Devil, opposite Harry Belafonte. Among classic television fans, Stevens is especially remembered for her haunting performance as Nan Adams in The Twilight Zone, as a woman driving across country while pursued by a mysterious stranger. Her greatest commercial success came with the ABC sitcom The Farmer's Daughter, in which she starred as Katie Holstrom, a Swedish American housekeeper whose warmth and common sense often outshone the politicians surrounding her. The series ran from 63 to 66, and Stevens won a Golden Globe Award for Best Star Female in 64. She also received an Emmy Award nomination for her presence. Following the series, Stevens enjoyed a successful run in feature films. She appeared opposite James Stewart and Henry Fonda in Fire Creek, Clint Eastwood in Hang 'em High, Walter Matthau in A Guide for the Married Man, and appeared in Five Card Stud and Madigan. Her ability to combine glamour with emotional authenticity made it equally effective in dramas, comedies, and westerns. Away from the camera, Stevens' personal life was marked by struggles with depression and loneliness. In 1970, after her death, it became public that she had secretly married Ike Jones in 1961. Because interracial marriages were still widely stigmatized in Hollywood at the time, the couple kept their marriage private to protect her career. A court later recognized Jones as her legal husband and administrator of her estate. On April 30th, 1970, Stevens was found unconscious at her Hollywood Hills home and died while being transported to the hospital. The Los Angeles County coroner ruled her death a suicide caused by acute barbiturate poisoning. She was only 35 years old, and her untimely death shocked colleagues and fans alike. Today, Inger Stevens is remembered as one of the most gifted actresses of her generation. Whether portraying the haunted Nan Adams in The Twilight Zone, the warm-hearted Katie Holstrom in The Farmer's Daughter, or leading roles in Hollywood films, she brought intelligence, vulnerability, and a quiet strength to every performance. Though her life ended tragically, her work continued to be celebrated by admirers of classic television and cinema. Leonard Strong, born Leonard Clarence Strong in 1908, died in 1980, was an American character actor whose career spanned more than 25 years in film and television. Although he appeared in over 100 productions, he is best remembered today for two unforgettable television roles: the mysterious hitchhiker in The Twilight Zone and the villainous The Claw in Get Smart. Strong was born in Salt Lake City. He began his film career during the early 1940s when Hollywood frequently cast him in roles portraying Japanese, Chinese, Korean, Thai, and other Asian characters, a practice that, while common at the time, would be considered inappropriate by modern casting standards. Despite not being of Asian descent, his distinctive appearance and versatility led to numerous roles during the World War II era. Throughout the 1940s and 50s, Strong appeared in a long list of films, including Shane, The King and I, Anna and the King of Siam, Cult of the Cobra, The Naked Jungle, and Destination Gobi. Though usually cast in supporting roles, he became a dependable presence in adventure films, westerns, war dramas, and mysteries. His understated performance in The Twilight Zone helped make the character one of the most memorable symbols of death in television history. Strong also gained a devoted following through his recurring role as the Claw on the comedy series Get Smart. Playing an eccentric international villain, he became famous for the running gag in which Maxwell Smart continually misheard his name as the Craw, prompting Strong's increasing exasperated corrections. These appearances showcased a gift for deadpan comedy and remain fan favorites. In addition to these signature roles, Strong made guest appearances on many classic television series, including Alfred Hitchcock Presents, The Lone Ranger, 77 Sunset Strip, The Untouchables, The Man from U.N.C.L.E., and One Step Beyond, becoming one of television's most familiar supporting actors during the 50s and 60s. Leonard Strong retired from acting in the late 60s. He died on January 23, 1980, in Glendale, California, at the age of 71. Although he was rarely a leading man, Leonard Strong left an enduring impression through a handful of unforgettable performances. His chilling portrayal of the hitchhiker in the Twilight Zone remains his greatest legacy, despite or just demonstrating how a restrained performance, a few carefully spoken words, and an enigmatic smile could create one of the most iconic supernatural figures in television history. Lucille Fletcher got the idea for the story in 1940 when she and her husband, Bernard Herrmann, were driving cross country from New York to California. On the first day of the trip, they saw the same odd looking man on the side of the road in two different locations. She found the occurrence rather eerie and thought it might be a good concept for a story. Alfred Hitchcock tried to purchase the rights to the radio play for his television series Alfred Hitchcock Presents for $2,000, but his bid was rejected. Nevertheless, Rod Serling was able to obtain the rights for $2,000 and $1,100 for each episode run. In the original story, the character of Nan was a male, Ronald. Rod Serling believed that a female in the situation would be reacted to with more feeling by the audience. She was named after one of his daughters. In a strange occurrence before filming The Twilight Zone, Inger Stevens attempted to commit suicide on New Year's Day, 1959, by swallowing 25 sleeping pills and a quantity of ammonia in an attempt to take her own life. On another occasion, she narrowly missed being killed in a fiery plane crash. In '61, she was the last passenger to leave a jet that crashed on landing and exploded after her exit. Nan's car has a rear view mirror and a vent window glass removed. In some later scenes, the windshield is also missing, and the roughness of the frame is somewhat visible. Some of the mountain roads Nan drives are filmed in the Angeles National Forest. Specifically, she approaches the bridge near Big Tonga Creek, and she drives through the Mill Creek Tunnel. When Nan tries to run over the hitchhiker, she swerves her car, a light-colored '59 Mercury, at him. But the car that swerves is a black '57 Ford. The sequence shown was lifted from Perry Mason's Season 1, Episode 1, The Restless Redhead, which includes a car chase with a black '57 Ford sedan. Both shows were originally on CBS. The two bits of foreshadowing are given in the first scene with the tow truck driver in Pennsylvania. First, he describes the circumstances of Nan's tire blowout and says they should have called for a hearse instead of a tow truck. When paying for the new tire, Nan says it was cheaper than a funeral. When Nan's car runs out of gas at night in New Mexico, she walks down the road and passes a sign reading, "Gas eats just ahead," indicating the direction from which she came. Yet she continues walking in the same direction away from the sign until she comes upon the closed gas station. When Nan pulls down her visor at the gas station and sees the hitchhiker in the mirror, the station's address, 5075 Cornell Road, Agoura, California, is clearly visible on the window where the fan belts are hanging. She's supposed to be in Pennsylvania at the time. The woman mentions that she's taking Route 80 multiple times. She also mentions that she's driving through Virginia, Tennessee, Arkansas, and New Mexico. Neither I-80 nor US Route 80 runs through any of those states. When Nan backs up her car to avoid the oncoming train, the locomotive is clearly marked SP on the nose. The Southern Pacific Railroad did not serve that part of the U.S. she was supposed to be in. The footage was obviously shot in California, where the Southern Pacific did run. The opening narration states that Nan is getting her tire changed in Pennsylvania. Later, Nan states that she sees the hitchhiker in Virginia 50 miles after she's seen him for the second time. She wouldn't be going through Virginia after passing through Pennsylvania while driving west from New York to California. This is another episode I was not excited about when I first saw it. I didn't understand all the nuances going on, but now that I'm older and I understand the complexities of the story, I find it to be a fascinating episode. There are a couple of very minor issues with the story, location, some lapses in logic, but by and large, this is a powerful twist that I never saw coming. The performances are first rate and the structure of the script so well thought out. I give this 4 out of 5.